One thing I've learned in Nigeria is to be flexible, very flexible. You know, in France, people hardly eat in the morning, just a coffee and some croissant, and then you go. But in Nigeria, work started around 8 or 8:30 and continued to the end of the day with a very brief pause in the middle. And the children needed also a very strong breakfast because they left for school around 7, 7:30, and they never came back until school was over after 3:30. So nobody was really eating in the middle. I remember in the department, people were selling granuts and other snacks through the window to the typists and people in the office because nobody could afford going home. There was no possibility. And so it was very important to eat well in the morning. And I didn't. I didn't have a stomach for that. So normally I just took a slice of bread and a cup of coffee. But then the others were not like that. They were eating jimano, that's yam, boiled yam with raw palm oil in the morning. But then our household grew bigger. So we were bigger and bigger and bigger, and we couldn't at a point start cooking or doing this kind of thing for the whole household when we were oscillating between 15 and 18 in the house. So eventually we decided that the simpler thing was to get bread, and you just slice the bread, and if it's not sliced, then you just dish it out to everyone. And that was easy. But then at a point in the mid-80s, there was a major setback in the country. The money was devalued, and then the government decided to stop importing wheat. And wheat was still growing around Jos in the north, but not in our region anyway. And so bread became very, very costly because flour was very costly. And so we discovered that there was no way we could afford as a household to buy the number of loaves of bread we needed. So all of a sudden there was a decision to be made, and we shifted to yam because my husband was cultivating yam in the evening after his teaching. So we started eating yam, but it was not sufficient for all of us to eat yam sometimes 2 times a day. So the result was that we had to buy, and then yam became very costly. So what do you do next? Then we said, oh well, let's try and use plantain, the big banana. So we bought plantain, and the ladies selling plantain became millionaires. They said, wow, what a luck. And so plantain just became unavailable, too costly. Then people said, okay, what about gari? So we started using gari, and people were just eating gari like that with water and sugar. Then it was too complicated and too costly, and eventually I said, just go back to bread. And that was the way things were. You drive your car and then petrol disappears. Would you queue up for hours or days just to fill your tank? No. So you start walking or buying a bike. If you are working and then all of a sudden, bam, electricity goes, as they call it, NEPA, that is the electricity company, was never expect power always. That was the joke. And all of a sudden you are plunged into darkness. No problem, you just take your lantern and continue working. And if there is no water, well, you just make do with the little you have. And we were always ready to take anything. And the bonus of it was that people took it with a smile. And it's another thing I learned in Nigeria, how to laugh about everything, including calamities. I remember meeting people on the street and they were saying, exchanging greetings. How are you? And the other one say, hi, hunger my brother, hunger my sister. I go and they laugh, And even during funerals, people manage to still laugh, which I got shocked to see, but it was part of life. Say, well, what do you want to do? You better laugh. I remember one of my brothers visiting us, and he was in public transport, and then there was an accident. And he saw people jumping through the windows. He couldn't understand, it was a minibus. So people helped him to extract himself and gave him a biscuit and helped him to board another bus. And they were all laughing. He told me that was quite strange. Nobody complained. They were all laughing and cracking jokes. And that's why Nigerians can never be crushed. They always rebound because they know how to be flexible and take everything smiling.